Hello friends, and welcome back to Our Simple Life. Today we're going on another adventure. Today I'm headed off with my dad and my brother off to Copper River, which is just over 200 miles away. Once we get to the Copper River, we will meet up with my other brother, who is coming from the other direction. While at the Copper River, we will be subsistence dipnet fishing. We are fishing for the crown jewel of the salmon world. These are the Copper River Reds. The Copper River Reds have taken on the Herculean task of swimming up the 300-mile Copper River. These salmon pack on rich energy reserves, evident in the copious supply of health and delicious omega-3 fatty acids stored in their bodies. We're also out to catch a king salmon. Before I take you on today's adventure, I would like to explain that this is no ordinary river, and this is no ordinary trip for our family. The Copper River can be a very dangerous river if you do not know what you're getting yourself into. It is very deep, wide, and very fast moving. And it runs through a very deep canyon. So fishing from shore means fishing from the side of a cliff. Most people will tie themselves off to a tree to assure safety. If you were to ever fall into the Copper River, your chances of getting out would be very minimal. For my family, this is a very grand adventure that we've been doing for a very long time. Because I did not get a lot of photos or videos from this trip, because it was kind of a family personal trip this time, I wanted to do a little bit of throwback photos from when my kids were younger and we were out here doing our annual Copper River fishing trip. This is my oldest son dip netting from the rocks, and there he is. He had caught a fish. And this is my middle child, my son. He's also dipping, and you can see that from the belt he's got around his waist. I made them tie off. And then this is my daughter, and she's sitting in an eddy where it's a lot slower water. And here's a king salmon. And this is dip netting on the Copper River. And this is my daughter and I, and our job always seemed to be cleaning the fish. And you can see here that we got our limit this year. And this is what the day and the week after looks like. Smoking fish and canning fish and processing fish. Okay, now on to this year's adventure. We had just made it to the parking lot where we need to unload. We have a side-by-side and a trailer that will carry all of our camping gear and fishing gear and everything that we're going to need for about 2 days.
I just grabbed it just in case. You got everything?
We kind of look like the Alaskan hillbillies going fishing, but we're off to have a really good time. We're all loaded and head off down the, I'd say, road, but I think it's more of a trail. The side-by-side is the widest thing you can get over the bridge that they created so that cars cannot drive down this trail anymore. When I was younger, we would drive our cars, our trucks. There was even motorhomes that would go down this road all the way down to the furthest creek, and it was amazing that they could get down there because the road was so rough and it is so close to the edge of the cliff, and it was so scary back then. And now they've closed it down to cars, and so it's just four-wheelers and side-by-sides and things of that nature. So from the looks of this, you probably wonder if we crashed on the side of the road. But no, we chose to park there on purpose. This will be our campsite for the weekend. And as for our fishing spot, follow the rope down over the cliff. My older brother is already here, and he's already lowered this rope down to help us get down the cliff, and we're going to follow this rope about 300 feet down the cliff. This is one of our favorite spots after coming here year after year and trying to find some of the best spots for the fishing. This is one of our normal spots, but the rock that we normally fish off of is not able to be fished from this year. The water is so high that the rock is literally underwater. So we're going down into where there's an eddy, where we're not going to have as good of fishing because we're not out in the mainstream of the river. So it's going to be a lot safer, yet the fishing is going to be a lot slower. So we finally reached the water after carrying our nets, backpacks, and all the fishing things that we need for the day and some snacks. And then my dad, this is my dad fishing, my dad, my older brother, my younger brother, and I fishing. And my little brother's son is also here, and his girlfriend, and my older brother's wife. So we had quite the fishing crew. And I'm just going to let this play out, and there's going to be some fish caught. Actually, I don't show any fish being caught, but you'll see there are fish caught, and I think my brother is going to give us a little lesson on filleting some fish.
Behind the fins. And down you see where the color came. Oh!
What were you putting your row in? The big bag?
I haven't put them in there yet. I was putting that there. So I went up the spine. little bit turned down. Put it in the bag. Put it in the bag.
We're gonna go.
That's a lot of.
Good morning. Yes, that is what it looks like. My brother's cooking breakfast.
think
He's got the
there's-
camp stove set up on the back of the four-wheeler.
Plenty of oil in corned beef hash.
And he's got a pot of sausage and ramen hanging from the four-wheeler handle. Yep, this is how we're doing breakfast. We're all getting up and getting ready to eat some breakfast, and then we're going to head down the hill and see how much the water has risen and see how the fishing's going to go today. As you can see, we've gained a little bit of a wind going on, which is perfectly fine with us because the mosquitoes have been absolutely horrendous here. The water did rise quite a bit overnight. The spot where I was standing the night before fishing is now almost completely underwater, so we're getting pushed back further and further up the hill. After trying all the clever ways to catch fish this morning, being backed up against the cliff, we called it a fishing day at mid-afternoon and decided we're just going to haul everything up and we're just going to enjoy ourselves, and it is what it is. So we decided, since we had called it a day fishing and we were just going to stay out here and camp and enjoy ourselves, we were going to go on a little exploration and just go on a side-by-side ride out to what is now the end of the road at Haley Creek and check out the waterfall. Many years ago, when we would drive our vehicles back here, Haley Creek was not the end of the road. There was a bridge that went over the creek and you could continue on back down the road, and there were more rock tunnels, and we're coming up on a rock tunnel here in just a little bit. And this was the railroad, and they had made these tunnels through the mountains to get the train through the mountains. And so, yep, you will see the tunnels, and you'll see some railroad trestles here and there, and occasionally you'll see railroad ties or railroad spikes in strange places. And I just can't imagine riding the train on this route in some of these places. The water is so far down the cliff and it's so close to the cliff. So here we are, we're in one of the tunnels. packed up, back in the truck, and on the road home. We had a great fishing trip, although we didn't get a lot of fish. Altogether, we got about 40, which is okay. I think we got 3 king salmon and all the rest reds. It was an okay fishing trip. With the amount of people we had, we could have had about 150 fish. But it is what it is, and we had a great family time, and we are so blessed that we got to spend this time together. And thank you so much for watching, and until our next adventure, have an awesome week.